And then over to the big screen for movie news, we have another massive star being cast in the next Star Wars movie alongside Ryan Gosling. In other reboot news, we have finally some signs of moving forward with the Henry Cavill-led Highlander movie. There's some updates there. And for all the DC stans out there, James Gunn has come out and confirmed a couple of things as far as standalone movies that we are to be expecting in the future. So we're going to talk about that. We got a little bit more than that too, so let's do some movie news. Welcome, nerds, to the Clips channel. You are about to watch the movie news for the week, at least since the last time you were here, probably. So, movie news, this is a smaller portion of a larger video. If you want to get all of the nerdy news, all of the pop culture stuff that's going on, go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy. The name of the show you're looking for is called The Week in Nerddom, and that's where you can get everything. Or you can just stay here and specifically watch movie news. We're going to talk about upcoming movies. We're going to talk about things that are happening in the box office right now, see how they're doing, that kind of stuff, and yeah, the kind of everything pertaining to movies. So let's jump into that. Subscribe. That is all. So let's talk movies, follow-ups rather. We have the new screenwriter for Mortal Kombat 2. It's not the guy who wrote the first movie, it's the guy who's right in the center. Jeremy Slater is equating Mortal Kombat 2 to Avengers Endgame in the anticipation that the fandom has for the movie. No. While, yes, I am one of the biggest Mortal Kombat fans probably out there. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty who are bigger, but I would say I'm in the top 10% of all Mortal Kombat fans. I'm pretty huge. Whatever. I'm not going to quantify that more. I am very much anticipating this next movie. October 24th cannot get here soon enough because I am champing at the bit to get into the theater and watch this damn movie. But that being said, I am part of the very, very small minority. And honestly, I think it's such a different cultural event. Whereas Avengers Endgame was 15 years worth of quality entertainment, maybe not quality cinema, but quality entertainment, kind of culminating into this thing. Whereas Mortal Kombat 2 is, well, the last movie was pretty good. There were definitely some issues with it. Hopefully they can fix those issues with the next movie. That's kind of where the fan base is at with this. So not even close to the same level of Endgame anticipation or hype. However, the fan base is pretty rabid, so we are all going to see it probably a few times. But, again, in the greater nerdy contingency, I think we are a rather small portion of it. So, yeah, that kind of is what it is. But next, real quick follow-up, we have Zelda. The live-action movie has been pushed back about 5 weeks. It is now coming out May 7th, which, if you'll remember, was previously going to be the release date for Avengers Doomsday. So that happened. And then we have Superman. Superman release date is an interesting situation right now because we have early release for certain people. People in the EU get it a day early, so it'll be released on the 10th instead of the 11th. But if you are a Prime member, if you have Amazon Prime, you can get an even earlier screening, 3 days earlier. July 8th, to be exact, is going to be the day that you can watch Superman in theaters. It's Fandango is the company that is selling the tickets, and there's a link in the description if you want to go try and figure it out. I tried to figure it out and it was super confusing. I don't think it was actually functioning properly. Hopefully it is by now if you go check out that link. But so it's Fandango partnered with with Warner Brothers, and it's going to be certain theaters that are partnered with Fandango in a certain way. I don't know exactly what the relationship is. All I know is that the closest theater to me is like an hour away. Very much considering doing it, but like I said, I couldn't figure out the ticketing process. But July 8th, if you are in the States and you have an Amazon Prime membership, you will be able to get tickets through Fandango and get, early screening for that. So if you don't have Prime or you're not going to do this on July 8th, stay away from Twitter until July 11th if you care about spoilers at all for this movie. So be warned. Resident Evil is our next one. Resident Evil reboot film from Zach Cregger is finally moving into principal photography this summer. We got word official from the studio, from Cregger himself, I'm pretty sure, saying that they will be moving into principal photography this summer. A Star Wars Starfighter, this is a casting announcement. So this is the Ryan Gosling starring movie. It has just been announced that they have also cast Mia Goth in an undisclosed role going forward. Once we get a little bit closer, I know there's going to be a lot of rumors around this. We'll be covering those, and we'll be covering actual follow-ups to this once we know a little bit more. And then continuing on with follow-ups and corrections, we have two more follow-ups. First one being the Highlander series, the Highlander movie rather. Henry Cavill has confirmed that they will be going into principal photography on that reboot movie in September, very specifically. And then Alien Romulus, the new sequel for that movie, is going into pre-production right now. So they're doing final scripting. We're also looking at probably some location scouting, etc., etc. So super excited. They're moving forward with what was one of the better Alien movies, in all honesty. Like, say what you will about it being kind of bland. At least it got the lore right, for the most part, and at least like it wasn't boring, it wasn't exceptional, but like we need something to kind of lock us back into that franchise before we can get something exceptional, I think. And I think that movie did well, so hopefully the sequel to Romulus will do a little bit more in the exceptional realm. All right, so we're gonna take another second here real quick and remind you that this is the season of the merch. We are pushing merch this season real hard. I just put up the surprise, quote unquote, surprise drop for, I think honestly, I might just keep this one on the store just because I think it's pretty silly. I don't know, I'm proud of myself in my stupidity, but it's the Confused Millennial t-shirt, Confused Millennial design, because it's more than a t-shirt. You got the hoodie, you got the long sleeve, you got the sticker, you got the mug, you got the shopping bag, all of these options up at the general store, linked down in the description of this episode. You can go check that out. Purchase any one of those things. No coupon code right now because we're not doing our monthly shirt. That begins next week. Next week you'll be getting another 10% coupon code with the design for the month, the temporary design for the month, which I think is going to be real juicy for all of you cinema and music nerds out there. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But right now, go check out the Confused Millennial design and all of the other basic nerd designs up at the Nerdy store right now. I thank you, as always, nerds, for checking it out. Again, stay tuned to the Nerdy stores, the general store, for updated designs every month. We drop at least one new design every month. Go check that out. We'll see you over there. But now let's finish the show, shall we? That is what we have for follow-ups. Let's talk about trailers. We got one that I honestly either forgot or just plain didn't know was happening. We have another Dracula movie coming out. It's from Luc Besson, who you'll recognize that name because he's the guy who did The Fifth Element. Yeah, that guy. He's doing a Dracula movie, and it looks like it's going to be some sort of interesting amalgamation of the 90s one with Keanu Reeves, which was fairly faithful to the Bram Stoker's novel, and then also Dracula Untold, because we're going to get a little bit more of the backstory of who Dracula is. But like the stylization on this looks pretty incredible. And it's also going to be featuring Christoph Waltz in the role of Van Helsing, it looks like. So that's kind of huge. Go check out that trailer. I was unable, here's the weird part about this. Now I'm sending you to this trailer very trepidatiously because it almost seems like this might be a fan-made trailer because I was unable to find an official studio release on YouTube for this trailer, and all of the releases all have the French subtitles. So I know Luc Besson, I'm pretty sure actually Luc Besson is French, so that kind of makes sense, but like there is a slim possibility this isn't actually a thing, which is why I didn't know about it, but I don't know everything, so maybe it just slipped through the cracks as far as my research goes, but it still looks cool either way, so I guess go check it out just for the cool visuals and the possibility of it being awesome, but it very well could be real, very likely is real, but we're moving on. Next up, we have Eddington is a new A24 movie, written and directed by Ari Aster, so if you know Ari Aster's work, you know this is going to be weird, and it's starring Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Luke Grimes, Deirdre O'Connell, Mike Ward, and Austin Butler and Emma Stone. It's a comedy from Ari Aster with an incredible cast. Like that is an insane cast. Releasing in theaters July 18th. Yeah, go watch this trailer, see what it does for you, because it's I think the fact that it's not crazy outlandishly weird is kind of what's weirding me out the most. So yeah, go check it out. Our last trailer for this episode is, we finally got a trailer for Wicked number 2, I guess is what we're calling it right now. The second Wicked movie is releasing November, I believe, 26th. And yeah, it'll be out this November for sure. Why it took them this long to release this? Because they filmed both movies at the same time. So did they really need to make us wait 2 years? That doesn't seem right. Or was it's a year and a half, something like that. So yeah, that's what we got for trailers. Let's talk about our regular ass news. We have one piece of regular ass news, and that is Wonder Woman. James Gunn has confirmed that they are in fact working on a new standalone Wonder Woman movie. It is presumed that they will be recasting the role of Wonder Woman. I feel like that's kind of obvious at this point. If they didn't keep Cavill around, they're not going to be keeping What's-Her-Toes around either. So yeah, Wonder Woman is happening. James Gunn has confirmed that it is for real a thing. Actually, I believe he even dropped kind of a Justice League reference almost. So very likely we'll be looking at that in the future as well. But that is what we got for regular news. Let's talk about our suggestion for the week. We're going for another freebie for suggestions in movies this week, and that is The Coneheads. It's up over on Tubi TV. This is kind of nerd classic, the science fiction comedy. Comes from an SNL bit, starring Dan Aykroyd. What's the other actors in this? But Dan Aykroyd, Jane Curtin, and Michelle Burke all starring in this. And I watched it again for the first time in probably 15 years and forgot just how dang funny that stupid show is. It's really awkward humor. It's very 90s humor for sure that hasn't maybe aged perfectly, but God, it's great. So that's your suggestion for the week. Just go watch Dan Aykroyd be amazing for an hour and a half with Jane Curtin and Michelle Burke. It's Coneheads. Suggestion. It's fun. Tubi. Watch it. Yeah. Let's move on. Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, probably here.